Sam Harris has been getting into fights with all his old friends, and apparently he decided he had enough of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you break up with somebody and you don't want to see them out and about, so you delete your social media apps. He's got to delete Twitter because if he sees, his old buddy Brett Weinstein tweeting, then it's going to make him sad.
Can't you just mute or unfollow?
Yeah, but sometimes the temptation's too much.
I don't know.
The temptation's too much to look up their profile.
So here is Eric Weinstein.
Oh, Eric.
Yeah. Tweeting out,
oh my God.
Sam Harris is no longer on Twitter.
Okay.
Checked in with Sam, says Eric Weinstein. He did it himself.
Oh.
I gotta admit, my model
Histrionic.
of many things needs a tune-up.
Yeah, Eric. Yeah, interesting.
You'll see what he's going to be talking about, but just remember those words. I have to admit, my model of many things needs a tune-up. Now, I can assure you, he's not going to do that tune-up. He's incapable of doing that tune-up. He's
going to perform the tune-up, so it rebounds to his credibility, so you pay him more money for his
I have tuned up my model of many things, and I realize Sam was really disturbed, and it was all on him. I logged quite a few hours in conversation with Sam Harris org from 2016 to 2019. They are not helping me to predict Sam in the last couple of years. I wouldn't have guessed this, for example. I'm curious about the other things. He won't mention it. Things like, he doesn't have COVID denial. That maybe did Sam Harris back off at least promoting his anti-Islam stuff?
Definitely been quieter on it.
I mean, you got to think, if you thought that Islam was the mother lode of all bad ideas, that it has been, in its essence, problematic, you wouldn't give up on your crusade. And I use that word exactly as it sounds. You wouldn't give up on your crusade in the way that he seems to have. Like, he doesn't talk about it that much. You know what happened to Sam Harris was 2016 comes, Donald Trump loses. Sam Harris is shocked that how much of his audience was supportive of Donald Trump. And then he's shocked at how much of his audience was like in COVID denial. And then he's shocked at how much of his audience was like anti-vax. And then he was shocked that Dave Rubin ended up being just a right-wing grifter. And then he was shocked that Brett Weinstein ended up being just more or less a right-wing grifter. And then he was shocked that Eric Weinstein really actually had no intellectual integrity. Just shocked by all these things.
This guy I've shared a stage with, turns out he's a big charlatan.
Yeah, really weird. In fact, everybody in the IDW is as completely as decrepit as all of my critics have been saying.
Surrounded by assholes, like in, what's that movie? Spaceballs.
Yeah, exactly. And he's shocked by all of it. And he basically says, I'm going to leave Twitter. You know what? Kudos. Good for you. At least on some level, you realize, like, oi, I dug myself in too great of a hole. I'm not going to get out. I think it's time for me just to
meditate on my piles of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. I'm going to leave, like, these bedfellows, go find another bed.
Yeah, or it's, you know what? I'm going to quit while I'm ahead. I'm going to quit while I'm ahead.
50s, something. Huh? He's got to be in his 50s.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sure. He's got to be around my age,
plenty of money,
yeah.
Somebody's going to call him to be some philosophical
and he'll find something
expert.
else. He'll find something else. He'll show up somewhere. I mean, it's, Twitter's not his only place.
It's funny how salty everyone around him in the IDW is. We got this clip of from Bad Stats account on Twitter. The Bad Stats posted this video of Brett, and just like the way, first of all, it's the way Brett uses it as an opportunity again to like describe something he doesn't actually do as if he does it. Well,
wait a second. I just want to say this too, and you should understand where Sam Harris was in this ecosystem, because Sam Harris was the one who gave like Dave Rubin intellectual credibility. Sam Harris was the one who gave a lot of them their intellectual credibility and their celebrity, because Sam Harris really built his project, on his meditation books. And his podcasts are largely about meditation, or at least in that community. And they also built and he leveraged that. I'm a neuroscientist and a philosopher, and so I can write things like an apology for torture. And the people who it resonates with will always be with me. And then I can write 14 different addendums to my blog spot every other week on this same post to confuse everybody as to what I really believe in and sort of escape ownership from what I've written. He was a real important linchpin here, because if Sam Harris did not exist in the IDW, it would have been just like a bunch of like right-wing and sort of disgruntled, aggrieved people. You know, remember, Brett Weinstein's whole thing is like, I got fired, and I don't even think he got fired. I think he may have quit, because my job at this college, he had basically a Jordan Peterson story.
He had a problem with diversity requirements that the teachers union agreed to, and said this was the start of the slippery slope to sort of
authoritarianism. Yeah, exactly. And so Sam Harris was the only of them who didn't work for Peter Thiel, didn't have an aggrieved thing, wasn't taking libertarian money. He gave them a lot of credibility, and the fact that he sort of like stepped off has really made it hard for them. They're a little bit untethered. Well, they're more untethered. Let's put it that way.
A lot untethered.
Here's the dark horse. This is like let's sit down and ruminate about this, shall we? And remember, like also Sam Harris was the first to sort of pioneer. I'm going to say horrible things. But I'm going to say them.
I'm a hysterical man, but I'm actually saying things calmly. So it's intellectualism,
measured way that makes them seem both thoughtful and reasonable. The idea that I am reducing an entire religion down to their extremist parts, and basically saying that if we don't do something soon, we are going to be overwhelmed and overtaken by all of them. Here's Brett Weinstein and his
wife Heather.
And their pets.
Yeah.
Hyena.
I wanted to point out, there's something that you've heard me say it many times. I think I've said it quite a number of times on Dark Horse, that if you say something that is wrong, right? If you get something wrong, the process of admitting that you got it wrong is very painful for all of us. But some of us are good at it. Why are we good at it? Because the pain that you experience in publicly having to reverse yourself is such a tiny fraction of the burden that comes to you if you refuse to correct it, that it's a bargain. Expensive as it is.
Pause it for 1 second. I just want to make it clear how sociopathic of what he's saying here is. In addition to him saying, like, I'm really good at this, even though we just watched the video of him with Robert Wright, where he was horrible at
literally melting down at the
getting red face at the prospect
of being checked on his facts.
Yeah.
But what he's saying here is that the reason why you apologize publicly is because it is a great way to basically, it's trade-off. You deal with a lot less hassle. And so you don't have to be harassed, as opposed to like your integrity is a function of you're getting things right or wrong. But everything is a calculus for this guy, because he's literally looking at a ledger.
A tiny fraction of the burden that comes to you if you refuse to correct it, that it's a bargain. Expensive as it is, it's a bargain.
It's a good
right?
business
If you do it
decision.
all the time, people will correctly infer that you're not doing thinking very well, because you're constantly having to correct yourself. But if you do your work well, so that you don't have to correct yourself that often, and then you do correct yourself when you need to, that actually increases people's trust in you, because they know why you're trustworthy, which is that you'll fix it if you got it wrong, and you'll alert them, right?
There it is. He's talking about
Sam Harris and their disagreement.
And Sam Harris couldn't handle it, and that's why he had to leave. Right? He couldn't admit that he was wrong.
Like Brett.
Some of us
He
are
did this
better
on
at
his
playing
own.
the game. Yeah.
There it is. So, and goodbye, cruel world of Twitter. Sam Harris is gone.